Alright people, welcome to another MITRE series video here. Today we are going to follow up with direct volume access, and we have seen the link to that technique in our last video, local storage discovery, and so we are following the rabbit hole here a little bit. Number is T1006, which indicates that it's one of the very old techniques, or one of the very basic techniques. But yeah, let's get started. We have still Monday the 29th of December. I'm pre-recording a whole lot of these videos now for the entire week pretty much. And yeah, let's do it like this. This is a short video, very short, so there's not much content, which is totally fine, I guess. Also going to cramp some of these topics to one page. Let me do that real quick. So procedure examples we put. There are only 4 of them. So we are going to put them here on this page. Like this. Created, modified is not the most important information, I guess. Yeah, probably not. So that's okay. Created, modified, we can just let's go to reading mode and see what we have here. So just in case you're interested, this is like created 2017, and indeed this is fairly early for MITRE. Updated recently, that's good. Let's see what we have in direct volume access. So it must have something to do with local storage, because it was linked to local storage. So adversaries may directly access a volume to bypass file access controls. File system monitoring. Okay, directly access volumes to bypass file monitoring. Yes, if you have access to the whole volume, like to the whole C drive or so, that's indeed not a file access. Windows allows programs to have direct access to logical volumes. Programs with direct access may read and write directly from the device by analyzing file system data structures. This technique may bypass Windows file access controls as well as file system monitoring tools. Utilities such as Ninja Copy, will we see them at the bottom maybe? No, we don't. Okay. Ninja Copy exists to perform these actions in PowerShell. Adversaries may also use built-in or third-party utilities such as VSS admin or WB admin, and I don't know any of this, to create shadow copies or backups of data from system volumes. Yeah, here in the tactic, by the way, we are in defense evasion. Let me see where this is. So this should be pretty, yeah, defense evasion is fairly in the middle of the MITRE attack life cycle, adversary life cycle. But yes, it's the phase where the initial breach happened, the adversary is in your system, and now they think about how to access data without being caught, and direct volume access appears to be the good way here. We have one contributor from CrowdStrike Falcon Overwatch, so sounds like an elite elite group over there. Yeah, interesting. So then let's take a look at the procedures. So we have ATT&CK, nearest neighbor, it's a campaign. So here we have campaigns, softwares and groups. So during the ATT&CK nearest neighbor campaign, ATT&CK, why is it ATT&CK not listed here as well if they are part of a campaign? Okay, so I think this should be listed here, but or maybe they avoided this to not having to repeat themselves, but yeah, okay. Accessed volume shadow copies through executing VSS admin, as they wrote here, in order to dump the NTDS DIT file. NTDS, that's like a password file. Okay, you have hashes of all of your accounts that ever logged into the system, so that's one way to compromise accounts, to get valid accounts. Yeah, but we have to, this valid account topic, I will eventually also make a video on that, but I'm still maybe traumatized by that. Valid accounts, that was quite a rough time in my daily job creating cybersecurity use cases for that. It was challenging. It's valid accounts is one of those very challenging techniques. I didn't have anything to do with it for the last at least 7 years, I think. Yes, somewhat like that. Maybe getting back to it makes it easier. Let's see. They say to face, to overcome trauma, you gotta face it. Valid accounts is, yeah, I'm exaggerating a bit. But then we have here software ascent UTL. Can use the volume shadow copy service to copy locked files, such as NTTS did. And locked file means you can't access it. But if you copy it first, possibly you can access it then. Okay, then Scattered Spider. That's a group. Has created volume shadow copies again, so it's all about this volume shadow copy. That's the name of the game here. Volume shadow copy. And since we read it so much, this might be an indirect hint to figure out exactly what it is. All I know is that I've never created volume shadow copies in my life. But as you see, this technique is all about catching the volume shadow copies. Let's see if we find something in the mitigation and detection for that. But yeah, so far so good. So these are the procedures then. So let's copy that, delete that, and copy mitigation detection. So this time we have mitigations going on. There we go. Let's get back to reading mode. So mitigations, behavior prevention and endpoint. So some endpoint security solutions can be configured, and they say some solutions, since this is CrowdStrike. I guess CrowdStrike is one of the solutions that can do that. Can be configured to block some types of behaviors related to efforts by an adversary to create backups, such as command execution and preventing API calls to backup related services. Okay, so endpoint protection is a mitigation here. Some endpoint security solutions. And it's true, a lot of stuff happens on the endpoints. That's right. Yes, then ensure only accounts required to configure and manage backups have the privileges to do so. Yeah, that's like user account management, as it says here. Monitor these accounts for unauthorized backup activity. And that's what I like. Unauthorized backup activity. That one I like a lot. Then detection strategy. What probably they want to just detect some commands and process accessing raw logical drives. Yes, like the C drive to bypass file system. It's interesting to know how to detect that in detail, but yeah, that's an idea. And CLI, or automate utilities accessing raw device volumes of flash storage via copy flash format or partition commands. Yeah, interesting. So there's not much I can say to that except, yeah, detect that. In the SOC you can do this. You can, you just need to connect the systems, Linux, Windows, to your SIM tool, and as a next step, then you can see the execution of these commands. But it all starts with visibility. If you don't collect these logs in any meaningful way, well, then this detection is not going to happen by your administrator. So these detections, they they rely on a SecOps team to do that, or threat hunters or something. But yeah, let's go to reading mode. We have 7 sources here. Do we recognize some of those? Hako, Bayan, dumping file sectors, Bialek, invoke ninja copy, lolbus, this is a CentUtil, Microsoft and Scissor, state-sponsored actors, compromise and maintain. So as you can see, state-sponsored actors, they do this as well. Interesting. But yeah, I think this is so far so good. We're 10 minutes into this video now. We know what direct volume access is. We learned that it is a defense evasion tactic, a tactic that we didn't have, or a kill chain step that we didn't cover a whole lot on this channel yet, but we will cover all of the MITRE techniques, so don't worry, we'll get to that. It's the journey of these videos. If we have one video every day, it will take us over a year to get through all of this. So this is a nice journey, nice educational journey for all of us. And eventually we will get all of the techniques. But we know why they do this. They want to bypass file system monitoring. That's the reason why you might want to directly access the volume instead of the file on the volume. We have some procedure examples. Volt Tycoon is again the group. So this hacker group, Volt Tycoon, appears to be quite capable. It looks like they read MITRE-ATT&CK, but it's the other way around, obviously. So only after they have committed these crimes, MITRE-ATT&CK reported on this. But they have the whole toolset of MITRE here. I see them in almost every technique. I see them. But yeah, we have some indications. So it's endpoint protection and monitor your privileged accounts, pretty much. So PAM solution, privilege access management, can help. We know how to detect that stuff. So just look for the commands, look for access to certain volumes. Yeah, and on the reference side there was nothing much going on except for the state-sponsored actor here. Let me mark them down. That's the only thing that remotely catched my eye, this whole scissor thing here. That catched my eye. Alright, so far so good. Then thank you for watching. Thank you for spending time on cybersecurity. It's time well spent. And see you in the next video then. Goodbye.